Good morning and welcome to Inside Running on Tab Radio Racing and Sports.
Magnificio races to the lead, getting through Waterman's Bay. Magnificio narrowly from Waterman's Bay.
Our team will evaluate each race, interview leading contenders and update Tab Touch markets.
But now Delicacy, here she comes. Delicacy under the 59 went to Neverland and Real Love Dark Musket. It's Delicacy against the inside. Sublime, brilliant, greatness in the cup.
We trust you will enjoy this edition of Inside Running. Now, over to the team for their look at today's meeting.
And a beautiful, glorious, sunny Saturday afternoon, heading for a top of 19 with some light winds. Perfect way to start the new racing season as we welcome the team today, led by Darren McAullay. Good morning.
Yeah, you've summed that up beautifully, Matty. Thank you indeed. Good morning to you. Great to have your company as well on Inside Running as we do commence the first of the new season of race meetings for 24-25. Of course, the card today is one where we celebrate the silky armoured gladiators of our industry, Jockey Celebration Day, and a night event card to kick this meeting off with the commencement today a little later than what we've been experiencing of late at 29 minutes after 12 o'clock. Interesting day of racing in some respects too, because we do see the return of a couple of very nice gallopers, or in fact one in particular, and one going for a string of victories. Scott Embry and Digby Beecham, good morning to both of you. Glorious conditions out there this morning. Diggs, first of all, there with you. A delightful day. Unfortunately, the same couldn't be said for our friends up in Port Hedland, with that meeting having to be abandoned because of very heavy rain overnight there. So that meeting's off if you're taking an interest in the meeting up there in Port Hedland. But here, just absolutely ideal.
Exactly right, Darren. Good morning to you, Scott, Matt, listeners. Beautiful morning. It's going to be a glorious day, Scott. And the rain that was forecast to hit the metropolitan area probably didn't arrive in the volume that's expected, and therefore we've got an improving track.
Correct, and obviously welcome to August 2, the last at almost 5:15, Cobb, so we're starting to move those times back as we get a bit sunnier towards the back end of the Belmont Park season, but at least we've had a string now in the metro day of Friday, nice day, Saturday, good day, all the way through. It looks like it might rain Wednesday, but up until then we'll get drying conditions, which has been a rarity.
Absolutely. Meeting today, the return of Glasgow Girl. I think she'll attract a lot of attention, of course. She's back off a one-start prep last campaign, but this is a filly that has never been beaten in a trial or a race start to date there, and the conglomerate of Yulong have bought into her subsequently since her last campaign. We see Taropa going for 4 straight today, and Triple J hunts a hat-trick of wins in race 5. Some of the highlights, maybe along with Sean O'Donnell, teaming up with Tudati in the last. That'll be a highlight.
I think those two, the filly in Glasgow Lass and also Taropa, I think they're my 2 highlights for the day. They're both very impressive types.
I might have said girl. I have confused them before.
And no one's jumping out of their skin to see Brad Graham's Glasgow Girl go round.
No, would agree.
I'm not sure Mr. Zhang's bought into her. He's bought into a lot of horses.
With great respect to Bradley and Glasgow Girl this morning. I'm in Glasgow.
Look, she's a ripper. We had a good chat to Mitchell Pateman yesterday on the Hour of Power, and he wasn't being disrespectful or a big head or anything like that. He just said she's a good filly.
She's such a professional. Diggs.
She's run the clock previously. She does everything right, and for a 1,200 metre first up assignment, map-wise, it looks perfect. So we know that there's a bit to play out yet, but she looks like she's going to be afforded every opportunity.
OK, we'll dig a bit deeper into the first in a few moments' time. And Taropa, well, clearly we all had some reservations. She was coming off the back of a month between runs and a viral infection there. Vernon Brockman said after the race it wasn't severe. But we all just tempered our views marginally. But boy, oh boy, didn't Taropa just come out and destroy them. So she's clearly a mare that's going to be worthy of following deeper into the spring. And
in a long-term investment sense, happy to have taken that cautious approach with her at the $1.90 that she went around. But here today, she drops 1.5 kilos into what looks a pretty straightforward Saturday entry for her. She hasn't struck a deep lineup whatsoever. She'll go around very short, and hopefully she'll be as impressive yet again.
Okay, and of course we will be also saluting the winners of the respective awards for 23-24. Maddie Derrick with her first apprentice's title here in the West. Grant and Alana Williams with another as the leading training team. And Willie Pike, well, you just build the fence with Pikey there. I lost track of how many premierships it was.
I think it's 14.
It is. 14 of the past 15 years.
And will never be broken, one would have imagined, and still continuing to build on that.
I think it was
getting into legendary class now.
Giulio Santarelli came with the news in the past 28 years. 14 Pike, 12 Paul Harvey, 1 Jay Brown, 1 Chris Parnham. It's an astonishing level of dominance from William. It really is.
And not finished yet.
Oh, no.
Not by a long way.
No, you'd think he's still got plenty of premierships to hunt.
When does Pike go into the Hall of Fame? The Pont's already there, and now Pike has more premierships.
Well, there had been a bit of a reluctance, I think, when the Hall of Fame concept in WA was first born, not to particularly have those that were still competing in there, but there's no wriggle room when you start running out of them, and then you start looking at the records of Paul Harvey first and foremost, or whether it be a Neville Parnham or a Lulu Ciani or
what's wrong with celebrating someone when they're at the peak of their powers?
I agree.
Let's not worry. If in all due respect, William could keep going if he wants to for another 15 years and be the dominant force for another 15 years because he is just insatiable. So do we have to wait until 2040 to get him in?
No. I don't think there's anywhere to go, is there? I mean, you're looking at the obvious. I think it probably gets down to, and we talk of Hall of Fame, and we've got the awards coming up. I think it's on the 17th of this month, which will be a great night, I'm sure, there. But it also incorporates the Thoroughbred Hall of Fame component there. There's been a bit of a shift, a change there in the way that Racing and Wagering are presenting that particular night there. But I think if I go back and reflect, and they had their time again, the working group who select people who go into the Hall of Fame would have maybe chosen people like a Max Simmons, for example, whilst he was alive, to enjoy the moment, instead of, when unfortunately in Max's case he took ill and he'd passed away. But he had done enough, of course, as one of the great contributors to racing, and was always going to be a shoo-in to go into the Hall of Fame. So you'd rather them be there to celebrate and be acknowledged than wait. And I think this is the circumstance. Not that we're saying anything at all there with Willie, because Willie's around for a long, long time, isn't he? There too, he's still got so much fire in the belly, and set to add to the 14 Jockeys premierships.
We'll check those numbers too. I'm very confident Chris Parnham's won 2 premierships.
2, has he? Okay, all right. Well, that's a very good result.
Be embarrassing if I was wrong, but I'm pretty confident on that.
It would be.
Good. Well, that's good. Well, so
as his manager.
With what Jules was saying, it was 14, 12. I thought he said 28 years, but I'll stand corrected. So, yeah, it's like 14, 12. Well, Chris is 2, which is terrific, and 1 for Jason. So
extraordinary, whichever way you look at it.
Absolutely, it is.
Okay, well, let's have a look at the changes for the day, and perfect weather conditions for racing at Belmont. It's a soft 7, the track at the moment, and drying conditions. And the first at 12:29. In race 1, we take out number 5, Boys Light Up. It's a pay 1-2 to start the card, and it's a pay 1-2 in the second as well. Number 4, Lons Delight, has come out there after racing on Wednesday. Race 2, number 4, so down there to the 6 runners in the second. The third race on the card is the running of the Tab Touch Westspeed Platinum, and here number 4, King Cartel, won't be going around after running on Wednesday. So King Cartel comes out there of race number 3. Race 4 is the Party at Ollie's, 12th of October on sale now. Handicap, the newly named stand, and what do we call that facility over there these days, Scott? It used to be the 1900 bar, didn't it?
Ollie's Bar?
Ollie's Bar is what it's now called, and the Ollie stand, which was rebadged after his achievements late last year. Rain of Fire comes out. number 1 from race 4. The Jockey Celebration Day Stakes is the 5th race on the card. Field of 8, no changes there. Over towards race number 6, the Valet Pat Oliver handicap, who we sadly lost in recent times. No changes there to race 6. Race 7 honours Maddie Derrick's achievements in winning the Apprentice of the Year award, and there are no scratchings either in race 8. Race 9, the Grant and Delana Williams handicap. Number 1 is out, special sort, with 11 very timely. And Charlene Temple, the roughie Jason Whiting, now goes on board there. And the last is in salute of Willie Pike with another Jockey's Premiership, and it's a full field of 14 in the last leg of the quaddie. Those are the changes for Belmont Park, which we will be previewing right after this break.
Team. Go to the football just to hear myself scream on just a suburban boy. Just a suburban boy. Sunday session on down at...
Let's get this show on the road, and we kick off Belmont Park today in perfect conditions with the Key Clean plate. Number 5 boys light up the 1 scratching, a pay 1-2 Matt, and a race dominated by the returning Alabama Express filly in Glasgow Lass.
And Battle Commander $12, 8 for Lano. Timeless Gem is at $6.50. Glasgow Lass is $1.55, down to Net Zero 23, Overdrive 13, and Arduet at 9.
Load and Lock, Scotty, in the first at the $1.55.
Oh, look, I think she'll come out victorious, but I must admit, I think at the price discrepancy, Timeless Gem will give her a run for her money. He's out to $6 now. The form through Bondi Bay held up during the week. He was very tough in that race, and if he was to work his way across and find the breeze, I don't think that she'll embarrass him by any stretch, but I do expect her to come out victorious. On debut, she was so impressive, and she beat the Pinjarra Magic Millions winner in big shots. She beat up on Elite Missile, who's come out and proven himself later at the Belmont Park season. She's done what she's needed to do at the trials. If you were glass half empty on her trials, Pharaoh Show was fair on Thursday, and Soldier of God went around at near on 60 or 70 to 1 during the week. So she probably has marched past some pretty moderate ones at trials.
I'm not really reading too much into trials at the moment, because we've seen circumstances where horses have won trials who have got ability. The horses that they beat don't go that much good when they step out, but it matters nil.
But I think you just focus on her trial and her trial alone. If you just eyeballed her and nothing else,
absolutely,
she's impressive.
Yeah, whilst she is certainly the horse in the spotlight, Diggs Timeless Gem was awfully brave last start, but I think of what we saw of Glasgow Lass's performance, her only performance when she did beat big shots home, it was a margin back to the others, wasn't it? It was daylight to third.
She won like a high-class filly. That's how she'd profiled leading into that debut run, and then she went there on game day and she produced a terrific performance. Things didn't go right after that, tipped out, has come back, and in both the trials, one thing that's been quite noticeable is when she's been clicked up, there's that point-to-point speed, she quickens, and it's like, whoa, okay, and then basically puts the trial to bed. Hopefully we see that here again on race day.
Okay, well, she's such a professional-looking filly. She goes about it that way exactly. I think that she'll kick off this campaign here with a victory. You take the short odds to find out, though. I think it's an ideal Quinella to start the day. 4 from 3, Timeless Gem for what we've already touched upon there. A horse with clearly above average talent, and the consistent Arduet I thought could run third ahead of Battle Commander maybe for mine, Scotty. 4, 3, 8 and 1.
4, 3, 8 and 2. I put Lano in there, even though he comes back in distance. He should get a soft run, but I went 4, 3, 8 and 2.
Copy and paste for me, Matt, with the selections of Scott. 4, 3, 8 and 2. Glasgow Lass to resume a winner today.
Okay, there you go. Glasgow Lass for all concerned. No shock there.
Yeah, the only discrepancy is the 4th from Mac, 4, 3, 8 and 1, and then both Scott and Diggers 4, 3, 8, 2. Over to race 2. This is at 4 after 1 for Morley Growers Market. And a handicap over 1,000 with 4 out, and the small field shows Bayzid at 370 currently, 440 Bonnie Lad, 13 for Golden Fighter, Under the Influence 360, 310 now for Think of God, and Prince Amongst Men at 20.
Okay, so it's a small field, but it's a compacted market, isn't it, in many respects, this second race. You get the market with Think of God at 3.10, who is back first up today. Mitchell Pateman there looking for an early double and having not trialled, which is probably something here that punters will be looking at and saying, well, maybe this is just forward enough for her return to racing today. You got Bayzid 370, Bonnie Ladd 440, and Under Influence at 360 in this field of just 6 runners. Diggs, which way are you going? I think you could flip the coin here.
Yeah, look, I've settled on the Toppy, who, for mine, leads them up, but it's got trap race feels about this, Scott. I'm not convinced that Bayzid wins this race. I have Bayzid on top. I think he finds the top, and I'd like to see him be let roll a bit. He's a big, strong, on-speed horse, but I reckon you could make a case for a few others.
He hasn't had a lot really go his way since his first 2 runs. He missed the kick in that Beaufine, and that's game over for him. And then he sat 3 deep outside the speed. I thought he was really good in that Songa race.
Yep.
And when Ginnivan comes out and wins a 72 plus last week.
And Songa, I think you might have mentioned it on the Sky Thoroughbred Central coverage on that Saturday when Songa won. He probably got under our guard a little bit, given the races we'd seen him contest previously. He'd beaten half of them home in a summer scorcher. Yeah.
Gone around at set weights and penalties in a Bluff Knoll.
And he was able to get his toe into the ground on that day as well, which he likes. Fresh. He's got a few little niggles. So, yeah.
I'm a bit like you. I'm sitting on the fence a touch here, Diggs, with Bayzid. But what I did like about Bayzid's performance that day is it was 3 and 4 deep, virtually without cover on the speed. And I was impressed by the fact that it didn't fall away completely. It just held its own in the run to the line after a very, very torrid run. Having said that, I'm being swayed more and more to come back to Under Influence because of the small field and the form that he's currently in there, with that Class 5 win giving them a head start 3 runs ago. Gunned them down, came from last, charging home, beaten a breath in the Keep Attacking race. And then last start in a 66 plus in that Songa race, again coming from the back and charging to the line with only 5 rivals against today. I thought this was an ideal race now for Under Influence. I'm going to be heading that way, but I've flipped and flopped a little bit on the race.
Opposite ends of the speed map, but in a field of only 6.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not too much ground for Under Influence to make up, but I'm in Bayzid's corner. I think he can cross Golden Fighter, and if he does, he should be hard to run down. 5 Under Influence, 2 Bonnie Ladd, who will no doubt just sit back and look for a cheap run up along the inner, and 6 Think of God. Blinkers go on for the very first time. Races without a trial. They book Pike. There's a lot to like there. 1526.
The market's been strong around Think of God as well, in from 340 to 310, Diggs.
Yes, same 4 numbers as Scott, different order. I am with Bayzid, as I said, and I'm expecting, hopefully, with even luck, he goes awfully close today. I'm terrified of Bonnie Ladd. The yard's going well, and you know that he's just going to be parked right behind Bayzid, and if the gaps appear, he's going to be dashing late. 5 and 6 Under Influence and Think of God for 3rd and 4th, respectively. 1, 2, 5 and 6.
It's certainly a very interesting race for a small field. I'm 5 Under Influence, 1 Bayzid, 2 Bonnie Ladd, 6 Think of God, which hasn't trialled there, which could be an indicator that Mitchell Pateman's more than happy with him to go to the races first up without a pipe opener. 5, 1, 2 and 6, but it is a pay 1-2 only there, Matty.
Bayzid, number 1 from Scott, 5-2-6. Digby also with the 1 to beat 2, 5 and 6. And Darren has gone 5 Under Influence, 1-2-6 for Tab Touch. Westbury Platinum is race number 3 over 1400. And $6 now advanced. War Gem is at 15. Arnie's Boy 17. 4's out. Cruise to Victory is at $2.50 the fave. 3.80 Lover Session. 14 Delicate Ruler. 26 Gold Merit. 6.50 Romeo and Kazkazi 71.
All right then, Scotty. Let's have a look at the 3rd race for the day. Which way are you going to be going here? Cruise to Victory has been the big tightener in the market. Back to 1400 in good form too since coming back to racing there. Has done nothing wrong, and I guess you could build a case for Advanced, who hasn't won for a long, long time, 693 days since its last victory. But Hayden Ballantyne has certainly got the gelding ticking over very well.
He's in his right grade. He's on his right track surface. He's a winter wet tracker. Advanced, he's no superstar, but he's trying hard and going close. I was really shocked at the volume of money that came for Advanced last start. Now,
off the scale,
$7 into $2.60. It was unrelenting. Now, in the end, he couldn't quite hold out probity, But at the same time, there was nothing wrong with the run.
No, I'd agree with that. He probably settled a little bit further back than most thought.
He just gave up that spot at about the 600.
Or Gem got in front.
I don't think that cost him the race.
No.
But probably ended up a pair further back than most thought.
What about Cruise to Victory here, who comes back from the mile to 1400? I was actually quite keen on his prospects when we last saw him, but mile...
Didn't really get the mile, though,
Didn't get the mile.
No.
Ginger Green led on a day when it was an advantage to be where Ginger Green lobbed.
And Ginger's made that form good, too. Backed up again last week.
Yeah, he has. I'm just going back to that start prior with Cruise to Victory when he was ultra impressive. It was a really good turn of foot and ran through the line. I think there's 2 stages of Cruise to Victory's career, in all due respect. There's the pre-Grant Nalana, and now you're seeing this. So you're working with only a small sample size, but I think it's okay.
New stable, new horse.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the way I tend to treat it as well. And it was mile first time for him.
Yep.
So back in trip, I thought he was a big beneficiary. Look, after that, I thought it thinned out quite noticeably. Potentially one that deserves a mention because he's flying is Romeo.
Yeah.
He continues to keep getting out of the ground as much as he was the flashing light run in that Class 1 behind No Brainer. His previous runs behind Burberry and Californication were equally as good. They just didn't get as much attention. But I'll go 1 advanced. He holds up perfectly each way. From 6 in Lover Session. Now, the only time this mare has won was the very first time the shades went on. So maybe you get a small spike out of her, but no doubt she'll run second. 5, Cruise to Victory, and 9 in Romeo, 1659.
How do you see this one, Diggs?
Yeah, look, I'm going to butter up again with Cruise to Victory. The key for mine being 16 back to 1400. So that's the way I've gone from 6 Lover Session. Shades on, as Scott said, that's going to be significant, you would think. She continues to run well. She just doesn't win. But with the cups on, small field, you'd like to think that she's going to be attacking the line. 1 advance, then 8 Gold Merits. The first up run was quite encouraging. 5, 6, 1 and 8.
5, 6, 1 and 3. I'm going here in the third, Cruise to Victory, Lover Session and Advanced, and then I'll include a horse who is just a typical Westby Platinum type horse. Harney's boy, he always seems to find a race every now and then to get competitive in, and this could well be the one for him. So we'll go in that order, 5, 6, 1, 3. Matt, take a break on the other side of your info and then come back and continue on with our look at the card today at Belmont.
Advanced horse 1 from Scott, 659. Diggers with 5, Cruise to Victory, 6, 1 and 8. And Darren also Cruise to Victory number 5 from 6, 1 and 3.
Okay, good to have your company too on this Saturday, 25 minutes away from 9 o'clock on Inside Running. We're looking at race number 4, where Rain of Fire is the scratching out of the party at Ollie's on the 12th of October. On sale now handicap. A big launch, of course, with the new Ascot season there and the newly named Ollie's Bar. Matt, how's the market looking?
Galaxy Affair is now 14. Odds on Taropa at $1.70. 16 Mocha Dream, Military Power 26. Into $6 Border Force. Forever Classic at 21. Hibiscus Lady at 12. Into $9.50 Canny Rock. Enticing 31. Audrey Grace 21.
A Saturday engagement for this very, very talented and up-and-coming mare in Taropa, who goes for 4 out of 4 from the yard of veteran trainer Vernon Brockman. And odds on to make it that way, of course, here in the 4th for the day.
Deservingly so. I mean, it's a Saturday race with a lowercase s, really. It's a no Metro win last year, so it's a Wednesday race promoted to the Saturdays. I expect her to come through victorious here. I think most probably will. Realistically, I don't see a knock on her. She drops down 1.5 kilos, and with all due respect, I don't think she meets a much tougher lineup.
I remember a horse that Vernon equated her to very well, that he trained many, many years ago, well before your time, Scotty, I can tell you that much. It was Junction Girl, and she was a really, really good mare who won, might have been 10 in a line, I think, Diggs, going back that far. But he did liken this mare to Junction Girl. Now, trainers who have been around for as long as Vernon has don't readily start comparing horses. Not one as good as what Junction Girl was. So it's a big tick for Taropa.
Oh, it is. It is. And she couldn't have been more impressive when she made her debut as a late season 2-year-old. Hadn't seen her for a long time. Has come back and gone bang, bang. Last start, we know there was a little bit of a setback, a hiccup prior to it. She now gets a more seamless lead up to this day. There's no knocks, absolutely no knocks.
And picking their way through the right races as well. If she was to come through today, she goes to a 72 rater. You could put her into a normal graduation, carry the 60 and win effectively the same race.
I loved the fact that on that heavy 8 last start, the way that she was able to quicken, she again transitioned a little bit like, I suppose you could mention Glasgow Lass when you're saying about that transition in the trials of how she quickened very, off nothing virtually. And that was the same with Taropa.
The interesting thing with this now mare is how long do they go? Do you hopefully pick today off?
Yep.
Not being disrespectful to her opposition and then say, right, she comes with a price tag, she comes with a page, we then aim her up at those fillies and mares races perhaps later in the year at Ascot.
That'll be the first time I have any cause for concern with her, because so far she's been to Belmont 3 times, won 3 times. She's seen 3 wet tracks, won all of them. So she's never been to Ascot. She's never raced on a good 4. But up until then, I don't think you've got any worries with her.
Talent is talent.
Yes, it is.
And I think that she'll go 4 from 4 here this afternoon in the 4th. Let's load up the exotics, though. Diggs, you look at a horse who I thought performed very well first up, coming back from a long break from racing off the scene forever, Border Force, but I thought it was a really good return. And Forever Classic will benefit, no doubt, from its first up run behind Taropa. Wasn't that bad late. Mocha Dreams ticking over okay, but she does look a class above them on paper.
She does. Certainly Border Force, the trial leading up to that fresh run was really good. Didn't get a lot of luck there the other day. Good gate, good jockey. In for second for mine, Military Power. I have in for third and 2, Galaxy Affair. Perhaps it's the Pike factor, but I think, to be fair, it's all about Taropa here. 3, 6, 5 and 2, Scott.
3, 2, 6 and 9. I thought Galaxy Affair could be the danger, if there is to be one, because of the fact that he drops back to a more suitable race. He gets not just a senior but Pike on, and for the first time in a long while he's actually drawn a gate to get a half decent run. So 3 for me Taropa, 2 Galaxy Affair, 6 Border Force and 9 Canny Rock. 3, 2, 6, 9.
So 3, 2, 6, 9 from Scott, 3, 6, 5, 2 from Digby, and Mac, I missed yours, 3 and...
I'm going with 3, 6, 7 and 4, Matt.
Of course you are, rightio. Race number 5, and looking at the market here, the next... Another Chino is at 17, Cold Chisel 21. Multinational is at $9, out from $4.60 into $1.90. Triple J hit $2.45. 9 into $6.50 Crescent City. Corn Cob at $7.50. 41 Eorways and $7.50 into $4.40 upper limits.
Triple J's not only going for a hat-trick of wins, but 4 out of his last 5 starts, and he is absolutely humming along right at the very moment too. He's rock hard fit and he's racing in tremendous form.
Back-to-back beautiful rides for Bradley Parnham, I would think here. This horse is perfectly placed now to win this, and then they can have some fun because he goes to the minimum in a listed handicap. So 4 for me, Triple J. I realistically didn't see a reason why I wouldn't be in his corner again. He was strong last start. It was his first time at 1,400 for victory, but he was in the breeze, and I would expect today he probably ends up in the breeze again. So it's same map, hopefully, same result. Triple J to continue his way through the grades. Multinational's out to a fairly decent price now.
There's a few that have got the shutters in the market in this race.
Well, it was also a difference of opinion. So Multinational Wednesday afternoon, Tab Touch first market went up $4.60.
Yep.
One of the rivals next up was $7. So there was immediately a disagreement in price point for him. But if Stevie Parnham finds the front, he's probably got Triple J to his outside, which is concerning, but they can still control this race between the pair. 4 from 3. 8, love the return of upper limits, and that run that you see on the form guide there on the 16th of December when beaten a length by Magnificent Andy, that was his second up 1,400 metre run, so you know that he can produce it fresh on a couple of occasions. And 6, Corn Cob through the same race. You just know what you're going to get with the Cob. 4, 3, 8, 6.
Indeed you do. Diggs.
4, 8, 5 and 3 for me. Triple J to park over the speed and be awfully hard to get past. 8 upper limits. The return was encouraging. Didn't get a lot of galloping room when needed. 5 Crescent City comes here off a trial on Monday. Last time in, form was okay. Just thinking maybe you'll get a run fresh here from a horse out of Grant Alana's yard with William aboard. And 3, Multinational. It's an interesting little preparation, back out to 1,400 metres. And to be fair, that's his sweet spot. 4, 8, 5 and 3.
No great variation there in these numbers for myself in the Jockey Celebration Day Stakes. It's clearly with 4, Triple J. I've got Triple J ahead of Corn Cob and Upper Limits for the obvious reasons here that Scotty has already highlighted, and Multinational is the next best of them. 4, 6, 8, 3.
So Scott is 4, 3, 8, 6. Digby 4, 8, 5 and 3. Darren is 4, 6, 8 and 3. Now to the sixth event of the day, and this is at 3:32. Valet Pat Oliver Handicap. They run 2,100. First leg of the quaddie, and from 4 to 350, Iowa. Benji's is at 17. In a point to $4 extra revs. Strike Now out to 460. In a point to 650 Emerald Trader. Armed and Ready 101. 16 for Bambin Boy. Candlelight Suppers at 20. 950 for God's Garden. Stylax at 18.
Diggs, we had a chance to see a couple of former interstate gallopers be very hard to beat in this race. We see the second up run here in WA of Iowa with Derby Racing, and of course Seymour Bloodstock's colours going around on Extra Revs, which has had the benefit of a couple of starts now in WA. Both look very, very adept at this trip.
Yeah, they are, and look, it might not be the only time this campaign we see them butt heads. I would think both are probably heading towards the Goldfields.
Cal Cup horses?
Yeah, you would think so, and to be fair, their first runs here in WA, both of them I thought were okay.
Well, with another Chino headed towards the Cal Cup, you know that you've got some level of quality there that you can handicap yourself off.
Yep.
So for Iowa, he's currently 6 kilos off another Chino, which is a nice spot to be in, heading towards a race like that. And he's got a beautiful racing pattern for Kalgoorlie. They both do, in fact.
Yes.
Now, Extra Revs has gone back on 2 occasions and probably goes back today, but his last victory at Kembla was right up on the pace.
Yep.
So he's also a bit more versatile than your average stayer.
And I thought that run behind Ginger Green, again, we're talking, you know, a horse who's pretty handy, Ginger Green, and he's in good form, and he's raced in, you know, that's 66, 72 plus grade and acquitted himself well. I thought it was actually okay.
Well, this is the sweet spot, really, isn't it? When you look at Extra Revs' form, you know, coming from interstate, victories at 2,022 and a mile and a half. So he now gets third run in to 2,100 off another prep building mile run. So I think that he's right there in the mix. I think that he has to be considered along with Iowa. But I don't think that we should be dismissive of horses like a Strike Now or an Emerald Trader, for example, also here at the 2,100. Your views?
That rounds out my top 4. I didn't think there was a whole lot of depth to this race, but in the end, a race without a lot of pace. It doesn't have a Tallangatta type to it that you normally have. It doesn't have a Filthy Habits in it.
Yeah.
So I thought Iowa would probably roll to the top, get things his own way, and at the 600 or 800 they can start to up the tempo and see how many of these genuinely stay. 1, Iowa, I think he is hard to run down. 3, Extra Revs. He's 1 from 1 off the quick backup, and I liked what I saw behind Ginger Green. 5, Emerald Trader. He's not an easy horse to catch by any stretch, but he is racing well. And 4, Strike Now. Gets a nice soft run along the inside. 1, 3, 5, 4.
I think it's a good point Scott made there in regards to finding out how many of our middle distance / staying horses actually cope with a genuine tempo, because we do see here often the sit-sprint affairs. Not all the time, but often. I suspect Iowa is going to be a horse when he gets to this distance range and perhaps a little bit beyond this, he might sort a few out with his racing pattern. It'll be interesting to see what Chris Parnham elects to do today, but with intent, I think he's going to be awfully hard to get past given what we saw there in his WA debut. So 1, Iowa on top from 3, Extra Revs. 7, Bambin Boy. I thought the most recent effort was good. You go back 3 starts ago, over 2,200 metres. He was 6th behind Satino, only beaten 2.5 lengths. He did have a bit of a torrid run that day. good gate, no weight here today, and 4 strike now, blinkers on, going along okay. 1, 3, 7 and 4.
Yes, it's always good to have the Derby thoroughbred racing colours going around in WA, isn't it? So nice to see that they've added to their armoury with the stayer coming across here, Iowa. That's the way I've gone as well. I thought that Strike Now with the blinkers on here, a fit horse, along with extra revs and Emerald Trader might be able to run out the other legs of the exotics there. But Iowa, for me, from 4, 3 and 5.
So all in agreement with 1 Iowa, 354 the minor from Scott, 1374 from Diggers, and 143 and 5 from Mac.
I would never want to rush you. I don't want to lose you. I'll never bust you. But I love you. I don't want to lose you.
Okay, welcome back. 10 minutes away from 9 o'clock. We're down to the last part of the card here. Second leg of the quaddie is race 7, the Matty Derrick handicap. And another mare who has been in fabulous form is Sentimental Belle. She's won 3 of her past 4. She's on a 7-day spin, and she's currently the Tab Touch outright favourite here, Matt.
And $5, Son of the Boss, who is out from 4.20. Multiverse at 41. Universal Flair at 14, out from 9. 34, Key Trade. 26, Civvy Street. 19, Supportive. Angel Undercover is at 8, out from 4. Sentimental Belle is at $3 after hitting 480. 13, Comic Hero. Born to Talk at 81. 6 into 350, Silver Eye.
Okay, well, there is good backing for Sentimental Belle, but this is a race that I think's got a little bit of depth in it too. It looks on paper to be a very competitive affair.
I agree. I thought this was a lot tougher than what she won last week in the Grant Alana Williams trifecta. Beat stablemates Keep Attacking and Hostile Talk. But I think if you took those couple of names as key rivals and you compared them to the likes of Son of the Boss, Angel Undercover, Silver Eye, Universal Flair, I would say this race has got more depth. Now, she can win again, no doubt about it. But I just thought that at $3 this week, as opposed to went around each way in an easier race last week.
Is she 3 back, Scott?
Probably.
Yep. That's
Pike territory.
par for the course, isn't it, for William? Yeah. So you're right. It's a deeper race. Who leads here? Because I had a devil of a time trying to confidently identify the leader.
Universal Flair.
Might rev it up, coming across, and maybe they could send Silver Eye forward as well with a bit of weight relief today to take a more handier spot.
And Son of the Boss will be there too.
Oh, he'll be positive, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's okay in terms of a speed map there. I started to look, trying to compare form from race to race, and I finished up landing back with a little level of conviction with Silver Eye. I mean, the Joker's Grin deferred form is starting to really flash red light, isn't it? It's been outstanding, and it does drop back to 54.5 this afternoon, so down 5.5 kilos on that run to deferred, which led them up in a 12, and then was back off speed and hit the line hard to deferred that day 2 runs ago. I thought that Silver Eye was right in the race as a legitimate winning chance.
Same. Well, for the last 3 or 4 months, you spruik 3-year-olds against the older horses, and now it's new season 4-year-olds against the older horses, which is Son of the Boss, which is Silver Eye, which is Mike Winella. I'm going to go 1, Son of the Boss. I just think this horse is underrated. He continues to produce. He doesn't run a bad race. He's got a positive racing pattern, and he always goes around a price. Son of the Boss for me, from 11 in Silver Eye, down the 5.5 kilos is big for this horse. He was very good behind Deferred, who's clearly a very handy now mare. 7, Angel Undercover. Nothing went right for her first up. Care of the fact that you needed to almost lead to win that meeting, and she was always going to be off pace. I thought watching the replay, she actually still did a really good job to get within 2 lengths of the winner. And 3, Universal Flair through the Storm Chaser race. Did a mountain of work. I'm actually no knock on Sentimental Belle, but I just thought there were others in the race that deserved as much airtime. 1, 11, 7 and 3.
No, I wouldn't be arguing there with you in regards to that, because I think it's a race that contains a number of legitimate winning chances. She is one of them. Winning form is good form. Diggs, I'm going to go with Silver Eye, though, over number 8, Sentimental Belle. Universal Flair, she'll ping the gate, she'll burn across. I don't think that she'll have any trouble getting there into the top 1-2 spots there when they settle down, and that'll suit her. And Son of the Boss quite clearly has to be right in the mix. I just couldn't find a spot here for Angel Undercover, although I do rate this mare 11, 8, 3 and 1.
Yeah, I rate the mare, and I rate that form reference, and we'll touch on it in the last race as well. That is the Boots Like Bruce form reference. But I'm 1, Son of the Boss, from 7, Angel Undercover. I thought the effort the other day against the pattern was very, very good. 3, Universal Flair, and 8, Sentimental Bell, with a cosy run, 1, 7, 3 and 8.
So Scott 1, 11, 7 and 3. Digby 1, 7, 3 and 8. And Mac has gone 11 to beat 8, 3 and 1 in race 7. Over to the 8th now. This is at 20 to 5. Congratulations, Grant Alana Williams, leading trainer. 1,600 metres they go over that distance in the 8th, with 11 coming out here. 1 and 11, in fact. $5.50 for Super Romney. $7 Alba Rich. Covert Rose at $2.80. Great Demon $3.50. Filthy Habit $7. And then Kerman Rock $26. Ultimate Style $21. Moncon $61. Sheldon Temple $81 and $23. Vitalise.
Okay, some interesting moves there, no doubt. Special Sword coming out of the race has seen some tinkering with markets, but good backing Super Romney regardless. Albridge with a few friends as well. Covert Rose in the market also, chasing 3 in a line. Some mares going around today that have all built up some really good winning records in recent times. And of course the Black Bookers would have been inscribing Great Demon down, no doubt, after its first up run behind Berberay, which was a fabulous performance. Goes to a mile second up. But I love the run on return against the pattern of the day as well, Scotty. It was one of those highlight performances for mine of the Beaten Brigade.
Agreed. He was your ultimate follow me wherever I go type of run, and I don't see a reason why I won't follow him at his second up run. Maybe I have a minor concern about barrier number 1 for him, a big moving type who probably would prefer to draw out so that Brad Parnham can put him into the race whenever he wants.
Yeah.
I don't think I like the fact that he may well be dictated to along the inside, but at the same time the run fresh was too good, and Brad Parnham knows him very well. The run was too good first up to ignore, so 5 for me, Great Demon. 4, Covert Rose. As much as I query what she's been beating at Bunbury first up and second up, I am impressed with the way that she's returned to racing. She's building up a good body of work. 3, Alberic has been knocking on the door this campaign. A lot of his runs have been better than what they look. And 6, Filthy Habits. They're no strangers to backing this horse up, but he goes well off the secondary backup, if that makes sense. 5, 4, 3 and 6.
5, 2, 3 and 4 for me. Great Demon. Another really good ride for Brad Parnham. He's currently $6.25 in the Jockey Challenge with Tab Touch. Brad, I think we've tipped him to win 3 races.
Take it.
Triple J, Taropa, and also
Great Demon. Yep.
You've got Great Demon. So he's got a good ride, and he's also got SJ's in the first, Brad. So maybe that's a little play there for the listeners. But Great Demon from 2, Super Romney. It was a good effort the other day. Now, he is 18 back to 1,600 metres, but he's a horse who, once he hits form, he can hold it. 3, Alberich. Needs to produce soon, you would think. He's not going terribly by any means. And 4, Covert Rose. Again, another lovely, cosy ride there, you would think, for W. Pike, and she's showing a good turn of foot. 5, 2, 3 and 4.
Yeah, very, very similar to you, Diggs, in respect to the third leg of the quaddie. Great Demon for me, second up, going to the mile. I'm actually quite confident here about the gelding to beat Super Romney, who there has been strong support for. Alberich for exactly what you've also highlighted. And I will include Filthy Habits just ahead of Covert Rose for the reasons that I think the opposition hasn't been as strong as what she'll meet here today. But you can't knock winning form, as I say, and she has to be given consideration. Punters think that is the case. She is into 280. 5, 2, 3 and 6 though for me, Matt.
So in agreement, everyone with 5, Great Demon. 4, 3, 6, the minors from Scott. 5, 2, 3, 4 from Digby, and 5, 2, 3 and 6 from Darren, with the last at 12 after 5. Congratulations, Willie Pike, leading jockey. 23-4 handicap, 1,400 here. And all starting, $12 Savage 1, 2 darties at $3.80 from 460. Without Reg, 20, 16 Captain Pluto. $10 West River Miracle, Probity's at 18, 10 for Colossal, D'Amber's at 4 in from 460, Holy Ghost 91, 15 into 850 Icebergs, Cisco Joe's at 34, Honey Dew 21, Pray Again 14, 51, Success Play.
Okay, we're congratulating Willie Pike in the last of the day, and we should also be congratulating Sean O'Donnell for his return to the winners list earlier on in the week, and it was a really refreshing and an uplifting day, of course, too. And I think that Sean has brought back his great energy and positivity to the jockeys' room, and everyone gets around him, don't they, Donger? And fabulous to see him win that race the other day. Scotty, in your post-race interview, I think everyone was talking about it there too, just how nice it is to have people of Sean's quality back riding again.
It's so good to know how Sarah's going as well.
Yeah, well, we always know that.
We've missed those updates.
we do indeed. But look, he's back on top of a horse who's got obviously great ability in Two Darty. The winner of 3, placed at 5 as well from 10. Well down in class on its past 2 runs, and gets back onto Two Darty this afternoon. So I thought might have just set itself up beautifully for a nice result in the last.
Well, as long as you can push yourself past that last run behind Triple J, where he wasn't at his best, his previous form is easily good enough to win this and win it impressively. The run 2 back behind Triple J was probably the run of the Belmont Park month. He was that far off them and charged the line. I thought they also got their chance to ride him a bit closer today from that better draw.
We talked about that, or I talked about that Boots Like Bruce form reference from midway through last month. We saw what he was able to do last week, destroy listed opposition. I thought there were a couple of runs in behind him on the 13th of July by 2 horses that, well, certainly one who's a big price, and that's Without Reg.
I'm very much in your corner here because I think it's the danger to Two Darty, and I think Colossal's the other one.
Yeah, I just thought Without Reg went back, wide draw, and, didn't really, wasn't really stoked up, put it that way, until, 350 out, and he sort of quickened up, and then, Geordie effectively sat on him. In the end, he was beaten 3 3/4. Second up record's good. He went to another level last campaign. He's got a gate here. He's at his it is his best distance range. 4 of his 6 wins have come here, and you're getting $20 Without Reg. Oh, I'm going that way. I thought I saw enough on that first up performance to suggest he's worth a spec here.
I would agree with you completely. I can't believe he's got out to $20 there. But I've got him just underneath of Two Darty. I've got him just ahead of Colossal, and I also thought that maybe D'Amber was right there in the race as well in summing it all up. How do you see this one, Scotty? We'll load these numbers away.
I'm going Two Darty. I just think if he gets the right run here, that it should be a nice flowing race. There's a good amount of pace in it, and if he's at his best, Two Darty, he's better than what most of these are. But you are taking him on trust after one below par performance. 2 for me. 1, Savage One. Love this placement, back in grade. Like this horse back to 1400. The last time he backed up was a 16 back to a 14. Matty Derrick rode him, and he was beaten ahead by Dance Boss. If he gets out and rolling, he's a tough nut to crack. 5, West River Miracle, me old mate, and 8 in D'Amber. 2, 1, 5 and 8.
And Diggs.
3 each way Without Reg from 7, Colossal, both coming through that Boots Like Bruce form reference. 8, D'Amber, should get a gun run there behind a good solid tempo. And 2, Two Darty. Rises in weight, but certainly Sean O'Donnell going back on is going to work in the favour of the horse, you would think. 3, 7, 8 and 2.
Yeah, I've got to be with Two Darty as well there for the fact that this is right back in class here. And I thought the race was turned on for the on-speeders that particular day. Two Darty got back with others and just couldn't have any impact whatsoever. But the previous form, I thought, was particularly good. He maps beautifully here with Sean O'Donnell aboard. To beat Without Reg, I'm very much in your corner, Diggs. And I went with 8 D'Amber, 7 Colossal, 2, 3, 8, 7. I'll be interested to have a look at what Captain Pluto can produce first up there, and of course those others mentioned by Scotty, West River Miracle, Savage One, others that will be included in many of the exotics there in the last on the program, Eddie.
Scott is 2, 1, 5, 8. Digby with 3 to beat 7, 8, 2. Darren has gone 2 to beat 3, 8 and 7.
All right, let's head around the table for the best for the day. Scotty, what did you land on?
I will think if you're looking for a multiplier, Taropa wins again, but I'll be race 5, number 4, Triple J.
Triple J there for you. And Diggs, how do you see the card out of the 9?
Race 8, number 5, Great Demon for me, Darren.
I would have been Triple J. It's got into odds on.
Back out to a 205.
We're 205 now, are we? Okay, so yeah, we could be Triple J, very much like you. I'm a little bit keen about Iowa. If you're looking for maybe one who sits not quite in the each way range, but just under race 6, I think this is ideal. In the Valet Pat Oliver handicap, race 6, number 1. And and I'll play Silver Eye as well. It's holding up in the betting. It's around a similar price to Iowa in that particular race. And I would think that maybe if you have a really good go, if it can hold up at the percentage from a place point of view, maybe even a win point of view, without Reg, Diggs, at $20.
Yep.
Maybe we could have something there on Reggie in the last on the program as well. Maybe that sort of 30%, 70% type investment might do us well. Okay, well, that's our look at today's action from Belmont Park, the first Metro meeting of the new racing season. It kicks off at 29 minutes after 12 with the Key Clean handicap. We'll be looking forward to your company, Scotty, through the day with all the post-race action down there on Tab Radio, and Diggs all the best today on the punt as well to everyone concerned involved at Belmont. Thanks to Matt McDermott, as always, as we sign off from Inside Running.